So victim number, well, I'm losing count this week. I think this is victim number 3 or number 4. Gentleman I never heard of before until tonight, Winston Marshall. This is the headline in the Daily Mail. Mumford and Sons banjo player Winston Marshall takes time away to examine his blind spots. Brexit millionaire's son is forced to apologise for tweet praising right-wing writer Andy Ngo. Now, let me explain who Andy Ngo is. And if you still think he's right-wing at the end of this, just let me know. Let me know in the comments below. Andy Ngo is a gay Vietnamese son of immigrants who came to the US from Vietnam either after or during the Vietnam War in the 1970s. He infiltrated Antifa. He's reported extensively on Antifa, and now he's written a book basically exposing Antifa's plot to overthrow democracy and basically overthrow Western civilization and replace it with some communist utopia that they believe is going to happen. Of course, anyone that's come across Antifa knows that they are vile, violent revolutionaries. They deliberately go to demonstrations to cause problems. They oppose anything that they deem to be fascist, which is basically anything to the right of Lenin, Trotsky, and Stalin. They are extremists, they are dangerous, and many people have called on them to be classified as a terrorist organisation. In Ireland, they're associated with republicanism. In the UK, they're associated with the Socialist Workers' Party and also with some Islamist groups as well. So they're a pretty nasty bunch. And of course, now Black Lives Matter and Antifa seem to be working together quite well in both the United States and the UK. So this guy from Mumford and Sons has basically lost his job in the band, but he's not only lost his job, he's had a show trial. He's had a public show trial. He's been attacked by the commissaires of Twitter. He's basically had to renounce his previous statements about Andy Ngo, and he's going away to re-educate himself. Isn't that great? He's completely bottled it, and he's caved in to the wokerati, Antifa, and the communist left, who are obviously now running this country. It's incredible. It's just another example of the vindictive, vile, despicable nature of the left-wing Twitter mobs. And I think everybody's got to start speaking up. We've got to see people across the board speaking up about this nonsense. And it was good to see, much as I am no fan of Piers Morgan, as you all know, and I keep saying it, but it was good to see people actually saying he shouldn't have been sacked. Well, there's been a lot of other people been sacked, and Piers Morgan has been the cheerleader for some of those sackings. So, unfortunately, a lot of good people have lost their jobs and lost their positions because of this absolute madness. So what do? Well, I think we just keep speaking out, and we keep speaking out against this absolute insanity that has taken hold of Western civilization. It's a complete assault on our freedoms. It's a complete assault on freedom of speech. And to anyone that's a Christian, to anyone that's into Christianity, don't just sit in your church thinking you're going to get away with this. Don't just sit on the sidelines. They're coming for you as well. So an ITV news story earlier on today where the reporter was saying how terrible discipleship was and how terrible the Christian idea of dying to self was. Well, that's what's happening, folks. Nobody's going to be safe in this purge that is coming. And we are going to have to stand up, and we're going to have to fight with all our might against these absolute lunatics that have taken over our culture, our society, and our businesses. It's going to be costly. It's going to be messy. But we've got to stand, and we've got to oppose these extremely dangerous people, from the princess of wokeness herself right the way down to the most insidious troll on Twitter. They all need to be opposed and they all need to be stood up to, because the bullies only understand one thing, and that's someone who's willing to stand up to them and get in their faces and shout them down. And that's what we've got to do. We've got to start standing up to the bullies and standing against them, because we're on the side of right and we will win.